Hello there, viewers. Welcome back to another episode on Achievers Lane channel titled, How to Let Go of Your Past. Welcome to Achievers Lane, where future achievers find inspiration. If you haven't already subscribed, you're missing out. It takes courage to let go things that hurt you, people who betrayed you, loved ones who pass away. Nevertheless, if you want to live happily, you must let go and go on. You must stop shackling yourself to the past and allowing it to drag you down. Why let your past steal your joy when you can't let a stranger force you out of your own home? If things don't turn out the way you had hoped, let go and concentrate on the good. You will never fully enjoy the future if you continue to live in the past. No matter how you try to rationalize the suffering, bitter thoughts can never make you happy and will only make you feel depressed. You can only construct a future now. You cannot let the past dictate your future. Time is the most valuable resource you have, so why waste it dwelling on the past? The more you dwell there, the more hurt and resentment you'll feel, and it won't do you any good. I am aware that this is easier said than done, but if you have to let go, accept the past, but don't dwell in it, you must do it. For instance, I know this guy by name Godlove, a neighbor and truck driver by profession, very ambitious and industrious. Several years ago, while hiking with friends, I spotted someone by the riverside, looking frustrated. As I got closer, I saw a man who was filled with hurt, grief, weeping uncontrollably. It looked like he was on the verge of ending his life. As we drew closer to him, I recognized he was my neighbor, Godlove. I went and sat by him, placed my hands gently on his shoulder and offered him a handkerchief to use to wipe his eyes. I allowed a few moments to elapse before I gently inquired from him the cause of his pain. Thereupon he began outlining his predicament. Godlove, my beloved neighbor, had been sponsoring his childhood sweetheart, Kelly, right from secondary school, through high school and university. Kelly had lost her father in her early childhood and couldn't care for herself more so as her mother was extremely ill. Kelly's situation was so dire that she dropped out of school and used to go for days without food to eat. Being kind-hearted and loving, Godlove was touched by Kelly's predicament and took upon himself to take care of Kelly's needs. He toiled day and night at menial jobs, and with his meager earnings paid Kelly's school fee and provided for her every need as well as caring for Kelly's sick mother. After Kelly completed her university studies, Godlove asked for her hand in marriage but was turned down. Unbeknownst to Godlove, Kelly had been seeing her boss who owned the company where she was doing her internship. Little wonder. Kelly's recent attitude towards him had changed suddenly. She would come up with one excuse or the other to cancel appointments with him at the last minute. To make matters worse, she didn't even come to see him in the city where he lived after she graduated. After several abortive attempts to reach Kelly by phone, Godlove decided to pay her a surprise visit as he had a spare key to her apartment. On entering Kelly's apartment, Godlove could not believe what met his eyes. His childhood sweetheart Kelly was being kissed in the mouth by a man. Godlove immediately sank on his knees. In the ensuing altercation, she told him to his face that she was in love with this other man, her boss, so was unable to continue the relationship with Godlove. What she said next was unbelievable. That she, Kelly, a graduate, could not fathom herself sinking so low as to marry a mere truck driver. As Godlove attempted to reason with her, reminding her of all his goodness to her and her family, Kelly became she even more infuriated. She demanded that he tells her how much money he had spent on her and her mother and she will repay him. She said she was now dating the CEO of the company she worked for, and he was very wealthy and educated. She threatened to call the police if Godlove did not immediately leave her apartment. He was so devastated by what she said, since he had given everything for her and her ill mother. He had even refused to buy himself new clothes or eat well because he wanted to make her happy, but she ended up dumped him like trash instead. Because he had devoted all of his time and resources to her, he hadn't been a decent son to his parents or brother to his offspring. He was sharing an apartment with his friend while he got her good place to live. He said he was on the verge of giving up because of the pain and suffering. In an empathic tone, I pleaded with him, acknowledging his pain and offering hope. Here is the point. Yes, despite everything you did for her, she left you for another man. Yes, she took advantage of your love and kindness. Such is life. You are not the first, nor shall you be the last. Things like this happen all the time. However, life simply has to go on. After every night comes day, after every storm there is calm. There are always brighter days ahead, and unless you make the decision to let go and emerge from the shadows, you won't be able to see them. To live a fulfilling life, try not to let the dark shadows of your past rob you of your present. You must learn let go of the past and move on. And no one is worth giving up one's life for. As I talked, he listened, and I managed to convince him to not take his life. He eventually returned to college and then to university, where he eventually met the woman of his dreams. They both graduated and got good jobs, and today they are married and living happily. And guess what, guys? Several years later, a local tabloid carried this headline on its first page: "Lady runs mad after dumping the man sponsored her education." On closer inspection, we found Kelly's photo staring at us from the page. Yes, the ungrateful Kelly who had abandoned his childhood sweetheart for a richer man had become mad. Oh yes. This had to be divine providence at work. Popularly known as the law of karma. Sad as it was, and much as we like to forgive, the local community could not help but rejoice at turn of events. The evil that people do lives after them. Thank you for watching to this point. Now I'm going to walk you through a few steps that will enable you to shed those loads, hurts, and pains, emerge from the shadows, and begin over. The first step is to forgive. It is frequently simpler to dwell on the past than to make peace and go on. Empathy, compassion, kindness, and understanding are necessary for the capacity to forgive oneself and others. We all make mistakes from time to time. The secret is to grow from our mistakes. Forgiving yourself and others is one of those things in life that, however difficult and uncomfortable it may feel, is worth doing in order to move forward. Secondly, construct a positive mantra to counter the painful ideas. Tell yourself what you want. If you want to let go, you must tell yourself that. How you speak to yourself can either propel you ahead or keep you trapped. Having a mantra that you repeat to yourself when you're experiencing emotional distress can frequently assist you refocus your thinking. Thirdly, establish actual separation. It's typical to hear someone advise that you should keep your distance from the person or circumstance that is upsetting you. For the mere fact that we are not having to think about it, digest it, or be reminded of it as much, creating physical or psychological space between ourselves and the person or situation might help in letting go. Fourthly, surround yourself with positive energy. This may include listening to soothing, relaxing music, talking to someone you trust, practicing yoga, or engaging in relaxation exercises. Allowing ourselves to rely on loved ones and their support helps remind us of the good that is in our lives. We can't do life alone, and we can't expect ourselves to get through our hurts alone, too. Last but not the least, give yourself permission to talk about it. Sometimes people are unable to move on because they believe they are not permitted to talk about it. When you're dealing with unpleasant emotions, it's crucial to offer yourself this permission. It could be that they are embarrassed or humiliated to continue talking about it, or it could be that those around them no longer want to hear about it. You might feel a lot better after talking to someone about what's going on. A therapist might also be very helpful. Thanks for watching. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Subscribe to our channel if you're a new viewer and enable the notification bell, so you don't miss out on our future uploads.